Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Positive affirmations as per normal. Valerie M. Signing in, standing in my truth, aka Maxfield. How are we all doing? Well, it's spring. In England it's spring and it's beautiful and it's sunny and just truly amazing sunlight coming through my windows, and it sounds like I'm always locked up in my house, doesn't it? But I'm, by my garden, and it's really lovely today. Bit blustery, bit of chill, but we know it's the 1st of March and it's wonderful. We know that spring is on its way. Oh, what have I got to say today? Well, for me, this week's podcast, my daily blog, it's like I've forgotten what I have to say, is this. So yesterday I had a lot of procrastination, so I'm not going to keep going on about procrastinations. It's about loyalty. Loyalty, and when things step back into your life and how do you deal with it. And across the table of people that work from home, I'm covering a few bases today. So let me start with, do you know what? One of the things I found difficult when I started the podcast, I always thought, I had this idea that, I'm going to have people that's going to come on and we're all going to have these, put the world to rights and, have great conversation. But where are they? Because everybody's doing a podcast. And, the funny thing is, for me, scaredy cat me, I have been shielding. So where people have been, having their podcast and booking places and going into them, wherever it is around the world, I've taken the scaredy cat route and decided to have the podcast by myself. And most of the shows that I do put up on the podcast are either live shows that I have invited people on. And, it seems to be working. It's slowly building. But the fact is, for me, my daily blog is to, just chart. People are doing various different things. And here I am wangling on. I suppose this is one of the things that I use as a tool to get a lot of things out of my head, out into the open. Bosh, 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 as she bangs her head. Anyway, as I was saying, let's start with loyalty. Are you loyal to yourself? Are you loyal to other people? Ask yourself that. What are you loyal to? Are you loyal to the takeaway food? But loyalty, it's deep. And I found myself in a very, 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 I think I spoke about this in one of my other podcasts, if I'm right. It's difficult when I think my loyalty has been challenged. And it's sad, and it's hankered me for a while, for a few months, because, the people that you think who are going to have your back don't have your back. Don't have your back. You have to have your own back. Do not be fooled that everyone thinks like you. Do not be fooled that if you were dropping down dead, someone's going to be there for you. You need to have your own back. And I know it's terrible to say that. It's terrible to say that. But I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody. But I do know people are in that position. I do know. And when I've heard people say, and I say, look, it's okay. Why don't you just have the conversation with the person? Maybe it's cross wires. Maybe you don't know what they're going through, why they've acted that way. And this is why I'm saying to you, March is a year. We've been locked down a year. A whole year and some. Because I remember the last day I physically walked into any form of place of work was the 9th of March 2020. the last time. I physically said, oh, yeah, I've got to go into a building and I'm going to work or anything like that. Sing, you name it. 2020. Apart from doing some digitized singing and stuff in June, which was like June, July for virtual Glastonbury, that was it. You know, today I watched on the news where a guy who is an amazing actor, he's been in some great programs, and because he hasn't worked for a whole year, he's now at Uber, a delivery, you know, he's riding on Deliveroo. Yeah, he's riding on Deliveroo, delivering food. He's got a baby on the way and he has to survive. This is a well-acclaimed actor. It's funny. You think you have savings. You think that everything's going to be fine. And your loyalty gets tested because you probably owe money out there. You owe money to friends or someone owes you money and the loyalty becomes suspect. Becomes suspect. For the first time, people who have had great jobs or live a highfalutin life, everybody's on the same slate. Oh, yeah. The universe has just wiped the slate clean and said, you are all now in the same boat. Some of you work, some of you don't, but you're all in the same boat. Because even if you work, you're on furlough. And then you get 80%, 70%. Some's gone to 50%. Some's got 0%. Some are on no contract, 0 hours contract. Some have had to have their most intricate details about their lives dug into because, you know, like me, I hate having my arse hung out to dry. I don't like you prying. It's funny that I hear someone like me saying that, considering that I like to pry and do research about other people's lives and literally interview them. That is funny coming from me, of all people. Right? But, you know, I genuinely don't like people. Not that I've got anything to hide. Maybe because I'm uncomfortable. Maybe I'm a bit uncomfortable about some of the things that's ever happened to me. But the funny thing is, standing in my truth, I'm not ashamed to tell anybody. Because what you or the general public in my circle may have assumed I am or whatever it is, they're happy for, you know, they'd be happy. The people that I know, how about if I put it like this? It's sad. One of the things that I have found in COVID, this is me standing in my truth. As I said, it's the loyalty. I also found that if I had to count all of my friends, I've probably only got 4. So let's just say I've got all these friends on Instagram and blah, 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 blah. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, 4, 5? 4 or 5. That, you know, we keep actually in touch to make sure that we are all okay. I am friends with everybody, you know, but I'm talking about the people that are in your daily life on a daily. Forget about cyber world. Forget cyber. You know, let's forget social media and the people that we tend to look on because, you know, some people get very upset if you don't like what they do on social media and things like that. And it's sad. And I'm not allowed to talk about Clubhouse. Clubhouse is another place that, and even if I get thrown out, I'm just going to say it as it is. It's a place where people will have like 1.5 thousand people, you know, likes. If you go onto their Instagram, their Facebook, they've got probably about 10. It's a place to go into that you can just have a voice and speak. Basically, you're putting counsellors and therapists out of work. I'm just talking about everybody else. I've met some wonderful people through Clubhouse, so I'm not going to say any more on the subject. It's each to its own is all I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? But my word, wow. If you get the chance to go onto Clubhouse, go on there. It's you be open-minded. Be open-minded. That's all I have to say. Be open-minded. But you know, it's a really great tool to reach out to so many different people from around the world. And everyone's got a story to tell, and I think it's just so truly amazing. But I'm always going to say it's Clubhouse, Madhouse. So be careful when you're going onto Clubhouse. Is all I've got to say on that subject. But let me go back to the loyalty and the actual. Let's just stick with the real world, because again, places like all of that it's still cyber world. Do you know what I mean? So the loyalty is the people that are around you, including your family, that you think you can call upon, who are going to be there. You know, the worst thing is when you're called upon, you're there. That's the worst thing. When you know that if someone says, blah, 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 I need you, you're going to go, yes, let me drop everything I'm doing. What can I do for you? How can I help you? What, you're not asking, you're there. But try turning it around and asking them to help you. No. The worst thing to do also is if someone has asked you to speak to you or talk to you, then just listen. Don't judge them because they're talking to you. Come on. It's bad enough that we've got so much pride as it is already, and we don't want to let people in to let people know that we're having a problem. Let people just talk. Listen. Sometimes people don't need advice. They just want someone to speak to. Don't you think so? I think so. And I know for a fact that if you are trying to speak to someone and they're constantly jumping in and trying to give the advice, you clam up because you don't have anything. You think to yourself, well, why are you telling me that? I'm trying to tell you what's happening to me. Can you not just let me say it? And then when I've said it, if you feel that you need to pass judgment, then by all means. But when I rang, it's just I had a dilemma. I just wanted to say it. Without hurting anybody, without, being chastising anyone. This is what I'm going through. And there are people out there for you, which is why we turn to the Samaritans or to helplines. There is so much helplines out there for your mental being that I'm hoping that people are grabbing onto it or speaking to a friend, even if they're that embarrassed to go to one. Again, this is where a loyalty comes into it, the loyalty. And so I've learnt there is no loyalty. I genuinely, and I'm talking about from friends and family, none. I had a conversation with the one of the people that I have the 100% loyalty in. And I said, we were talking, and the person said to me, it's mad that you do everything possible for somebody, but because they know that they feel that you've got money and they think that you don't have any feelings, and they see you driving a nice car or they see you live in a nice house or you just look good and everything else, that you don't exist. You don't exist. So they'll happily crush you. They'd happily talk about you. They'd happily try to bring you down. But yet still, they'll pretend that they are loyal to you. And I felt what she was saying. 100%. I knew where she was coming from. I knew what she was trying to say. And I didn't say anything. I looked at her and I thought, I've been trying to say this about people for a long time, but I had to keep that to myself because it made me sound like I was being judgmental because it was happening to me. But then people would say, I'm being paranoid. And just to hear someone else say what I was thinking, it made me, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it made me feel just a tad little better. Just a little better. So watch it's terrible, I'm going to say it. You just have to vibe with the people that are around you. If you mean you have to cut certain people off, cut them off. My people around me has made me start to check myself, be, upset with myself, procrastinating myself, make me second doubt myself. And I had to turn to myself this weekend and said, you have all got to go. You've got to go. I don't want to speak to any of them again when I come out of lockdown. I don't want to be in the same space. I don't want to see them. I'll wish them luck from a distance, but do not step into my realm. I won't be stepping into your realm. And if I have to cross paths with that person, I know it's supposed to be all about love and kindness. I am being kind to myself. That is me being kind to myself. So be kind to yourself. Don't put yourself in situations that's always going to trigger anger, trigger bad vibes, trigger, one thing, again, another thing about loyalty is this. If you're constantly angry at the people around you and you're not telling them that you're angry, your sincerity is not coming from a good place. You need to address the anger, address why you are feeling that way towards people. Because sometimes it could not even be them, it could be you. Address it, because you are blocking anything good that is coming to you from the universe. You're blocking it. You need to just shake it out, walk, drop the shoulders, relax and breathe, and look and say, we are all human beings, and you cannot. So, look, I am not contradicting myself. I'm just saying, if you see a situation that you're in and it is not working, walk away from it. Just walk away. So my loyalty now brings me down to, if you're working from home, it's difficult. If you're working from home and you've got children and, it's difficult because you're trying to do work. You switch on and you act like you are actually at work. 9 o'clock, your laptop gets opened and your printer's on. The kids are running around and it's shrieking havoc. But because people know you're at home, you're still taking care of stuff, the home, and you're still taking care of the phone bills and stuff that you need to do. So it's a balance that you have to find. Then you've got those who've got no children and they're working from home. So they get to do, still get to do the DIY and the home things and still get to have, it's quite a bit of a refreshing time from a lot of us, to be fair. People have written books, people have things that they've always wanted to talk about and they've never had the time to talk about it. We're now doing it through podcasts, YouTube channel shows. There's just so much out there. But working at home can be difficult because there's some of us who have started new jobs working from home. You work from home and it's difficult because you're not with your new work colleagues. And I'm, again, this is all through experience and speaking to others who have started new jobs through lockdown, not being able to be with their new colleagues, and that loyalty is Like, oh my God, I don't know when that you're being put upon to do part of the job. It's like, and now you're second guessing, really and truly, how am I doing this job? Oh my God, am I doing the right thing for the boss that I work for? Perfect example. I was given some work to do. Yeah. I've decided to do a bit of, freelance work, etc., whilst working from home and putting my podcast show. And so, because, hey, I can't be living on my savings and expect that I'm going to listen, I need to keep my savings. So let's just put a bit more money in coffers. It doesn't help. Let me put my intellect to good use. And I feel guilty working from home because some of the people are going into work. And when they employed me, I'm sure they didn't expect that I was going to work from home because that was not what they said. But when we went into the third lockdown, I had to shield because, yes, I have pancreatitis, which is it can lead to diabetes. And so I have an underlying issue. So I'm shielding. Anyway. But working from home, I'm starting to feel really bad because the guy who I work for has put good faith in me, and there's a team of people that's expecting work from me. And trust me, I'm getting up earlier than I normally would, and I'm putting in the hours. And I'm doing what they're asking me to do. But the fact is, I'm not actually in the building. And, there's certain things and patents that I need to look at. And I'm finding it difficult, to get my head around it, thinking, no, actually, it's not that I'm getting my head wrapped around it. It's the fact that I'm starting to feel guilty being at home. One, because as I said, the job wasn't a work. You can work from home, but I never suggested that. It's only after the third lockdown that happened. And two, the fact is that I'm now being isolated. So I don't speak to them that often unless it normally has to be. And sometimes it's like pulling teeth, just trying to get information from various people that I work amongst, because some work from home and some don't. So this is why I was kicking myself over the weekend and saying procrastination. And lastly, the last thing, before I even finish, because as I said, this is my blog standing in my truth. Who told me to decide to become a breakfast DJ? I never asked for it. I never have asked for it. It's just been drummed into me. Please be a DJ. I think you'd be brilliant as a presenter. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not. I massively failed this weekend. So I had my first show as a breakfast sports presenter, and anything I knew went right out the window. Everything I'd written down, everything I prepared went right out the window. I had stayed up from the Thursday night. So I woke up the Friday morning, 5:30, didn't get back to sleep until Saturday afternoon at 1:45. I'd stayed up that whole weekend. I prepared the whole week. Now, bearing in mind, I had a show on the Wednesday. No, I had the show on the Thursday. I had a show on a Friday. And then I had the breakfast show. I had 3 different types of shows I had to prep for. And I was so tired with all the prepping. I thought I had everything locked down, only to start my show and have one of the videos that I thought I had shut down, and it played constantly for 2.5 hours while I'm playing music, while I'm on the radio show. And I decided with my clever clog self, I'm going to be different than everybody else. I'm going to go live. And I completely failed. It was a clangor of clangor. Even though I had big response from people telling me, oh, it was brilliant. You played the most amazing music. Blah, 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 blah. I failed. I know that I failed. And yeah, I cried tears. People were complimenting me, and it felt like, oh my God, this is great. It wasn't great. I was grateful. I cried because I was grateful. Didn't mean to cry, I think, because I was just blinking well bloody tired. But I almost said, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going back on the radio. And then I got up on the Sunday because I hallucinated because I was so tired. By the time I hit the bed, actually, did I go to bed? I fell asleep on the sofa and I literally was out. People were calling me. When I did wake up, I thought it was a Sunday morning. It turned out it was 7:00 Sunday evening. I was totally wiped. And then I woke up boo-hooing again. It was just crazy. Luckily, it was only 7:00 in the morning, so most people were still sleeping in their beds. And those who did wake up and got to the bit of 9:00 where I had the interview. By then, the clanging bits have all stopped. But anyway, the crux of what I'm trying to say is, everybody that hated me was able to see and laugh at me. Ha 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 ha. They laughed at me. There was people who would not normally speak to me on social media, felt the need to come onto the program itself because, as I said, I'm live on Facebook. And then people kept trying to call me. Oh, your mic is too loud. Oh, you're distorted and blah, blah, blah. And I could have easily just said, well, you know what? F it, I'm cutting it off. But I didn't. I stuck with the program and I tried to, by myself, in my little hovel, try to sort everything out. And the interview went really well because by then there was no music playing. But to all you wonderful people out there, it was just, it was like people loved the fact that I was failing and absolutely crumbling in front of their faces. Do you know what I mean? Literally. And the people who are supposed to be my so-called friends, they took pleasure by not even saying, like, well done, you're on the radio station, congratulations. It was complete strangers or people I don't interact on a regs who took the time out to actually, show, see, we're going to come back to loyalty and come back and just said, I've downloaded the app to the radio station. Thank you for this. I'm glad you played a variation of music. Didn't know what to expect from you. Loved your banter. And here I am. I will see you. I look forward to waking up to you next week, Saturday. And I just got emotional. But they gave me good feedback. But the people I know, the people that I've had in my home, the people that are supposedly my friends, not one tuned in. My family, no one. Amazing. So, this is where I'm going to stop my podcast. Long time no see, but loyalty. This show is called Loyalty and the People That Take the Piss. What a learning curve. Check you out tomorrow. Back on the blog of my Standing in My Truth, Valerie M, as I look in my garden and watch this fox lay on the grass and he's actually sunbathing in my garden. Hello, sweetie. Woohoo! Have a great day. Check you out tomorrow on the Standing in My Truth blog. Bye-bye.